Before this video starts, I would just quickly like to say that everything in this video is my opinion, and if you wish to share your opinion, I will leave a link in the description to the tier list maker, which I'm using to make this. Also, join my Discord, subscribe, do all that stuff. Let's get into the video. First off, we have the map Atlantis. Now, Atlantis is a fairly large map, and the islands on each side are fairly big, and this means there is always a lot of room for you to PvP. There is also quite a lot of space for you to clutch if you get hit off because of how wide the islands are. However, there are also some water pillars which hang down on each side of the island, which can obstruct your way if you're trying to score a goal. However, these water pillars do also stop you from boosting the enemy into your own goal. So I am going to put Atlantis at a solid B. Next up, we have Kronos. Kronos is quite a unique map, as it has two staircases that lead to the lower part of the bridge, which can be clutched on, and can also be boosted on if your enemy hits you at the right angle. These staircases also lead round either side of the map, and lead into the goal room. It is quite easy to defend, as you can drop down either side to defend against the person. It can also be hippoed, and you cannot spawn block on this map, because the height limit is the same as the spawn height where you spawn. So, although it can be a little bit annoying to play on, I think I'm going to give this map a high C, personally. Our next map is Condo. Now, Condo has two grass bits either side of the bridge, which can be clutched on if you are hit off. You can also wing on this map and jump onto the grass bits, which is quite an effective method. It's quite easy to defend, as you can jump down either side, you can jump down the front, or there is actually a back entrance you can drop down. And so far, this map is probably looking like maybe a B or an A, but you can spawn block on it, which immediately, in my opinion, brings it straight down to a D. So, Condo, D tier. Our next map is the map Dojo. Now, Dojo is quite an interesting map. You can spawn block on it, although the spawn block is usually very ineffective, and it's very hard to do without getting killed. You can also hip on it, which you want to do on some matches. There are lots of flat open spaces where you can PvP on there, and there's no grass or anything that gets in the way, so you can have some good PvP fights on there. You can jump down either side to defend. There is also a back entrance, which you can jump down to score a goal or to defend. There are two little bits either side which you can clutch on. You can also wing on this map and jump onto it. And overall, I'm going to give Dojo an A. Next up, we have Flora. Now, Flora is quite a unique map compared to most of the other ones, because on Flora, the goal is actually below the spawn point and a bit backwards. Now, what this means is that you can actually build a bridge into the goal from the main bridge if you drop down and bypass for a little bit. If you build a bridge like this, then you can score points quite easily, unless the other person drops down and blocks up your bridge, which balances it out a little bit. You can actually undergoal on this map, which is quite good, and you can also wing and hippo this map. Now, the one thing which I don't really like about this map is the way I find it quite hard to defend personally if the other person has a bridge going into the thing. While you can block it up, they can just run past you and it gets quite annoying. There's also quite a lot of grass over the map, meaning that PvP fights can be obstructed by the grass, which can be rather annoying sometimes, but I think Flora is probably going to be a D, although I think it is better than Condo, so we're going to put it higher than Condo. Now we have Fortress. So Fortress is quite a hippo-based map, and if you're against someone who is hippoing, you kind of need to hippo, otherwise you don't really have a chance. One good strategy on this map is to wing if the other person has a hippo, because you can actually drop down onto some side entrances, which are either side of the map, which you can also drop down to if you're trying to defend. You can also drop down the back if you're attacking or defending. There's quite a lot of open space which you can PvP on, and there's also a lot of room to clutch on. You can't actually spawn block on this map, which is a good thing, but I still think I would probably prefer to play Dojo over Fortress, although I am going to give it a solid A tier. Our next map on the list is Galaxy. Now, Galaxy is quite an interesting map because there are two things, like two outcrops, which you can jump onto once you've spawned, which lead forwards a little bit, and you can jump onto the bridge from there. which is actually faster than dropping down to the bottom. You can hippo the middle, and you can also hippo both sides. There's quite a lot of room to PvP, and there's no grass or anything which can obstruct the PvP. However, the hippo can be slightly annoying sometimes, as if you miss the jump then you have to avoid and try again, which will give your opponent some pressure on you. So overall, I think I'm probably going to give this map a high B, because I'd definitely prefer to play it more than Atlantis, but I think I'd rather keep Fortress than Galaxy. Next up, we have Hyperfrost. Now, Hyperfrost is quite a unique map. Other than Flora, it is the only map which you can actually undergoal on Hyperfrost, wings are very OP, as you can jump onto these little side islands, which are either side of the map, 2 on each side, and from there you can bridge across to the other one and jump to the goal. As from a defending point of view, there are lots of places to jump down from. You can hit at the front and the sides. There are 3 entrances on the top, which you can drop down into the main goal room, and you can also jump onto either side island to defend. You can also build from the spawn point into someone else's wing to counter it. So I think this map, I'm probably going to give it, I think I'm going to give it an A tier, but not as good as Fortress, I don't think. Now we have Licorice, and oh my gosh, do I even need to express my hate for this map. It is so annoying. The spawn block on this map is just completely over the top. If the person even places a few blocks in front of your spawn, then you've basically lost the game already. If you're trying to bypass, you hit your head on the little Oreos that are either side of the bridge. It's just so annoying. I always Q-dodge this map. Bottom F tier, not saying any more on this. Now we have Lighthouse. Now Lighthouse is another spawn block map, although I think it's probably a little bit better than Licorice, because you have the side islands which you can run onto and then jump onto the main bridge from there. So you can counter the spawn block a little bit more. However, if the other person does spawn block you, then they have a direct path into the goal. They can literally just use it as a diving board into the goal, which makes the spawn block super OP, and if they spawn block the sides, you're basically dead. There's nothing you can do. There are some empty spaces where you can PvP, but overall I really don't like this map. I'm going to put it at F tier, although I'm going to put it higher than Licorice. Next up we have Mr. Cheesy. Now, personally, I think Mr. Cheesy is actually a really underrated map, as not many people really like it, although personally, I really like it. The hippo is quite easy to build, it's really quite nice to defend, because, well, there's a lot of big fights in it. You can dig into the hippo to stop the other person scoring, you can go around the back. There's loads of the top of the base is completely flat, so you can have some really good PvP fights up there. You can bypass and then dig through the bottom of the hippo to get into the goal. It's just a really fun map, I think. You can wing on it, you can't spawn block, so I'm going to put Cheesy, I think I'm probably going to put Cheesy as a high B. I think actually, no, I think I'm going to put it as a A, just above Hyperfrost, I think. Now we have Sorcery. So Sorcery is quite an interesting map because you can hippo on it. There are 2 things which you can clutch on either side of the bridge. There's also quite a lot of empty space which you can PvP on. It's really quite fun to defend because you can drop down the top entrance, so you can go through either the front entrances if they aren't hippoed. You can drop down the back to defend. Now when you're attacking, it's quite interesting because you can try and bait the person into dropping down the top entrance, in which case you can build up and drop down after them instead of going through one of the front entrances, which is quite fun. However, if you are trying to defend and the other person goes through the top entrance, if you're not there, they can actually just mine out your entire hippo from behind, which is very frustrating. You can wing on this map. I think I'm going to put Sorcery as a B, I think. I think I'm going to put it higher than Galaxy though. Yeah, high B. Next up we have Stunt. Now Stunt is probably the iconic hippo map that you think of if you think of hippoing. It's because it has a gigantic front entrance which can be hippoed. You can also hippo the sides, although you probably only want to do that in 4s. There are 2 little mushrooms either side of the bridge which you can jump onto and then try to score from there. You can wing on this map, you can't spawn block on this map, which automatically makes it quite a good map. Now, the one thing which I don't like about this map is if you have hippoed the front entrance and the 2 side entrances, then if the person gets into the gold room, then they can basically just mine your entire hippo from the inside, which is really annoying and means that you have to rebuild it the next time you respawn, which I view as a massive negative. So I think overall with Stunt, I'm probably going to put it as a B tier, maybe a little bit above Atlantis, I think. Next up, we have Sunstone. Now, Sunstone is quite an interesting map, as you can hit both the middle and both sides. It's quite like a blocky map. You can clutch on either side, you can wing on this map, although winging isn't that good as the other person can just connect to it from the top island. You can't spawn lock on this map. However, as with previous maps, the person can just mine out your entire hippo from the inside, which is very annoying. Also, there isn't much space down at the bottom where you'll probably PvP, so PvP fights usually aren't that long and maybe not that fun. You don't normally find yourself PvPing on the top bit, so you don't really utilise all that flat area up there. I think Sunstone is probably going to be a C tier, not as high as Kronos, so I don't think. Next up, we have Treehouse. Now, in Treehouse, you have 2 staircases which lead to the top of the island and start on either side of the island. You can jump up these and you can go through the back entrance, or you can go through the front one. You can hit with this map, although it's quite weird and I'd only recommend doing it in 4s. And even then, maybe still don't do it. You can wing on this map, although the wing is a little bit funny. But one thing which I really don't like about this map is that on Treehouse, you're probably going to be building up quite a lot. And near the spawn, if the other person gets a pre-bowl from you, which hits you, then it can knock you down to the bottom layer and you won't really be able to get back up, especially if you've hippoed, which makes it quite annoying. I think I'm probably going to put Treehouse as a high C. Now we have Tundra. Now, Tundra is quite a unique map because it is the only hippo map which only has one entrance. A lot of people think that there's a back entrance, but there actually isn't. There are 2 staircases which run on each side of the island from bottom to top. There's quite a lot of flat area which you can PvP on. You can wing on this map, you can build some really nice hippos on this map, and because of the hippos, and because there's only one way in, I think that if both players build a really big hippo and you both wing stuff, it can actually be a really, really fun match. You can bypass, you can go underneath the hippo and then dig up through it. You can defend by digging into the hippo, which makes for some really interesting dig fights. Personally, I really, really like this map, so I think this map is going to be our first S tier. Next up, we have Twilight. Now, you're probably seeing quite a recurring theme with all the spawn block maps, and Twilight is probably going to follow that theme. The spawn block can be really annoying, and although there are side islands, you can't really do any much with them, as the other person can spawn block them as well, even if you try to bridge across. You can wing on this map, although it's not really that effective. You can bypass, and you can actually drop into the bottom entrance and go up either staircase into the gold room. It's quite annoying to defend though, as there is only one goal. And if you are trying to defend, if you even stand in the gold room, the other person will spawn block you, so you don't really have a choice there. So I'm going to put Twilight as F. Although, yeah, I'm going to put it in the middle. I think Lighthouse is better, although it's nowhere near as bad as Licorice. Now we have Urban. Now, I personally really, really like Urban. It's just a really fun map. There are 2 little things which if you get hit off, then you can clutch on. You can wing on this map, you can hippo on this map. There's so much empty space where you can PvP. You can't really spawn block on this map, although you can. It's really ineffective and doesn't really do much. You can bypass quite easily and jump onto the side islands. It's really fun to defend, as there's 2 top entrances and 2 side entrances and a front one, which it means it has 5 total entrances. I really like this map. If you can find any flaws with Urban, please tell me. I cannot see a single flaw with this map. I love it. This is definitely my favourite map. Top of S tier. Now, before I end this video, there are a few things in this tier list which I don't completely agree with, and I would just like to alter real quickly. So first of all, I think Mr. Cheesy. I'd probably rather play that than Dojo. And I also think that Dojo would probably go behind Fortress, as Fortress is quite a good map, I think. Also, Treehouse and Atlantis. I'm actually going to move Atlantis to a C tier, and I'm going to move Treehouse up to here. And I think that's just about it. I can't see anything else. So I think that's all for this video. Now lastly, just before I end this video, I make content like this all the time, so if you do enjoy it, please do subscribe. Also join my Discord server. We have a nice community over there, which you can help grow if you join. Also, feel free to tell me any video ideas you have that are similar to this one in the comments. I'll happily go through them. And without further ado, that's it.